am based as the research manager in the Department of Electrical and Electronic Engineering. Back in 2013, I started volunteering for Pride in London, and I started as a steward on the parade route. Then I became an assistant parade manager, the parade manager, and most recently I was the deputy director of operations for the event. Yeah, I'm comfortable being out at Imperial. From when I first arrived back in 2008, from day one, I was out and open. The first colleague I started talking to on my first day when I arrived and sat down at my desk was a lesbian who said straight away that here's a picture of her and her wife. And at the time I was like, oh, great. And here's a picture of me and my husband. And I was out from day one. There was never a concern. And it just made me feel welcome, just having such an open environment on my first day. Before Imperial, I worked at two other universities. I worked at the University of Birmingham and the University of Warwick. And even at that time, which was nearly 20 years ago now, there was never any concerns with my sexuality or being open in the workplace. As a gay man working in STEM, I haven't had as many issues as I have for being dyslexic. Quite often the fear people have about being open is not as founded as in other institutions or in other types of organizations. In 2008, when I started, I was aware that it was an LGBT network. The colleague who I sat next to made me aware of that. And they were looking to reinvigorate it and to increase membership so that more people could network and just learn more about what it means to be LGBT in STEM and at the college. So we had a small focus group got together of about 8 people. We went over and met Christine Yates, who was the head of the Equality and Diversity unit at the time. And we looked at how to brand it more friendly, how to make it more welcoming, and how just to raise the visibility of it. And the first step we did was just to actually change the name. It went from LGBT plus at Imperial, I believe it was called at the time, and then it became Imperial 600. As 6,000 staff and 10% of the population are LGBT plus, we came up with Imperial 600. When you decide to come out in the workplace, it's always a hard choice, but at Imperial, you have various different support methods available to you. So we have the staff network you could reach out to first for advice of how other people have done it, or you could just start by referring to your partner rather than he or she or they. And that's just one step you could start with as an easy first step. Planning for the parade takes about 8 months. So when people have just enjoyed the parade in July, we start planning that in August for the following year. And by around January, February time, we're ready to open for applications. At that point, we have systems in place to ensure that the applicants can apply, that we've got invoicing systems, we've got a way of recording all the information about who's applying and why they want to be in the parade, so we can ensure that groups who meet the Pride ethos are only in the parade. And then we work with the Greater London Authority, the Mayor of London's office, Westminster Council, to try and ensure that all of the events put together in a safe and successful way for everybody to enjoy on the main day. In our parade, 55% of the parade last year was made up of non-profit organisation groups, and then the 45% is then split down through other organisations such as the Mayor of London's office and also corporate companies. And those companies are there as a brand, but they also bring in their staff with them. So they're there to show that their staff are able to be open and welcoming, and that as a brand they support us as a community. So whilst they are there and they are putting their brand awareness out to the LGBT plus community, they're also supporting their internal staff to make sure that they have a place to feel open. Whilst great steps have been taken to move forward, there's still a long way to go for members of our community still. So not all members of our community are treated equally. For example, people with accessibility needs can struggle to get to LGBT events. People in the BAME community can struggle to be represented in anything that we do, and there isn't events that make them feel at home and welcomed. So whilst the community as a whole has moved a great way forward, there's still segments within the community who still have a fight that needs our support and allyship together with. Being a strong ally for LGBT people at Imperial is very straightforward. And the first thing is just to listen more than you talk. So rather than saying, oh, I think I could help you by doing this, just ask the person first, is there anything that I could assist with? Is there anything I can participate or any programs that I can help show my support for LGBT plus staff at Imperial? And quite often, by just asking that question, the staff member who is LGBT will feel more open and will just say, actually, what we need support in is this, rather than the assumption that we need help in this as another alternative. At Imperial, there's a few people internally we have a leading professor of a department. We have various other people who I've learned through the network. But outside of Imperial, we have, for example, the directors of Pride in London. Some of the key ones I can think of Mufseen, who's the finance director, who taught me how to value every person as a community member. We have David Hartshaw, who was the finance director before that, who taught me the importance of being prudent in every financial decision we make, as this is community money that we're playing with. And then there was the director of operations, Siobhan, and she always made sure that I was mentored and looked after and guided with every decision I made. And without those people, I don't think I could be as open or supportive of the LGBT community as I am. I think for me, the magic wand would be able to grant everybody the ability to be a better ally. Within our community, we have lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and various other kinds of people and individuals, and just being able to stand together, not just one weekend a year or 1 month a year as Pride Month, but actually throughout the year to stand up and help fight for each and everyone else's rights as well as our own.